Hi, I'm Kenny Anderson, Director of Multicultural Affairs for the City of Huntsville, and welcome to Impact. Each week we bring you information about exciting things that are happening in the City of Huntsville, and today will be no different. One of the topics that we talk about most is leadership, and the idea that it really takes a community of individuals recognizing that in order to leave the future in good hands, that we must spend some time investing in young people today as well as others who will lead us into the future. Today to talk to us about an exciting leadership conference that's coming up is Gentry Simmons. Gentry, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to have you. You're the conference host, and as an event planner myself, I know how exciting it must be to have an event that you're planning.
Yes, it's very exciting, and it can feel a little daunting.
It can, that's right, but I'm sure you've got all the tools and equipment to make it happen.
Have a great team in place, so it makes a difference.
It makes a big difference. Tell us about this conference. The conference is called S.H.I.F.T, and that's an acronym, 2016. Tell us what this conference is.
Well, it's a leadership development summit, and I kind of have shifted from where last year was the first year we had an on-site conference. And we now have shifted to it being a leadership summit, a meeting of the minds, and pretty much the theme for this year deals with leaders arising and cultivating our leadership and really rising to the occasion to be the leaders that we're supposed to be.
Yeah, and it takes that kind of development to really develop the kind of leadership and whatever initiatives and individuals that you're trying to impact.
Yes.
There's a lot of conversation around those kinds of things. And of course, that's important to convene people from time to talk about that.
Yes.
I'm curious to where you got the idea for this conference and what's the genesis of this event?
Oh, goodness. You know, so funny because when you talk about shifting, immediately you think about movement. And I have personally had many shifts that have taken place that really got me to the place where now, you know, I'm developing this leadership summit where I want to bring people together who are like-minded to recognize that leadership is so important to not only our community, but just our personal development. So the genesis of it, if you will, it was really, I entered 2014 and I had no direction. And when I say no direction, I don't mean just totally, but I was at home. I had shifted into the new year. And usually I plan, I'm a planner, as you said. And I thought to myself, wow, I have entered 2014 and I don't have a sense that I know what is going to happen this year, what I'm planning. And I remember one night sitting in my living room, and I sat in this chair, I have an antique chair, and I was sitting there, and I just began to meditate. And my meditation took me to praying, and I began to think, Lord, oh my goodness, I really don't have any direction for this year. And I thought it was so crazy because that's not like me. So in essence, what happened was I had the thought of shift. It literally just dropped in my heart. And then the acronym came, which stands for Seeking His Impartation for Transition. And I will be honest with you, Kenny, I honestly at that point in time had no idea what all that meant. Yes, I know what it means to shift, and yes, I know impartation, but I didn't have the full throttle, the full scope of where that was going. I had no idea it would be a leadership summit. I had no idea it would be a conference. All I knew was that it was initiated through prayer. So I gathered 21 women and I wrote a list of these women and I called them up. Now, some of them I knew casually. So when you call people and say, hey, let's pray about a shift, about a movement, about a move happening in our communities and consequently even in our nation, you know, it can be a little unnerving because you're thinking to yourself, are they going to want to pray? Are they going to want to connect? And after doing so, the birthing came out of that prayer time, and the foundation of Shift was born. So it really was rooted in just me not having the direction that I normally would have going into a new year and connecting with other people. And that is what I want to really relay at the conference. Being able to realize that no matter what faith you are in, universal language is prayer. You know, that we have to connect with our Creator. And that's where Shift really was born.
And of course, you know, and I always do this in conversations
Yeah.
for full disclosure,
Yes.
since I'm Multicultural Affairs
Yes.
Director and I represent all people, that
Yes.
when we talk about these kinds of things, we may even be talking about people that are not people of
That's
faith. And
right.
we have an
That's right.
increasing number of people in our society who are called the nuns, people who aren't affiliated in any way with a faith-based initiative. And that doesn't dilute the initiative that a person may have that may be
Right.
faith-based, but it also, I think, creates an opportunity for us to see beyond our boundaries
Yes.
and understand that everyone may not be where we are, but everyone can still benefit from something. Because whether I call that prayer, thinking, meditation, not well, for some people it might be medication, but meditation or reflection or whatever that thing might be, I think it's important for us to think about it in that way, because it actually, you talked about connecting, it actually connects us to people, I think, in very powerful ways. Because what it does is it says, I honor who you are, where you are, and you honor, hopefully, who I am, where I am. So that's very exciting to hear that. I'm wondering what the first conference was like.
Oh, goodness. The first conference, which actually was in 2014, but it was not an on-site conference. And again, like I said, everything, was the outgrowth of connecting through prayer. And so it was a teleconference. And we connected people from all over to just connect and pray and really look within ourselves to say, okay, there's a shift. Things are always moving around us, but sometimes we're not aware of it. We're not really being cognizant of me transitioning from one season of my life, one business or whatever business move, whatever it is. We're always shifting, and sometimes I think there's a lack of preparation in our shifting. We just kind of move haphazardly. And so we had the teleconference, and that was March of 2014. It was very successful. Well, I had no idea after that what was next until we had our first on-site conference last year, 2015. And it was phenomenal. My thing was, it was not about quantity, it was about quality. Many times you go to conferences and you have large crowds of people and you may even get good information, but I wanted to make sure that the people who came to the conference, that they really felt like they received something that would be transformational and practical in their everyday lives. And that's what I'm hoping for this year as well.
Yeah, and to have, I know exactly what you mean, to have the kind of substantive experience where you didn't just go to another event,
Yes.
but that you actually came away from that experience feeling renewed,
Yeah.
re-energized, as you said, transformed,
Yes.
elevated,
Yes.
and walking away perhaps with a sense of direction and purpose,
Yes.
which is what you didn't have stepping into 2014.
14.
And so you kind of look back on that and think about how that perhaps guides your thinking as you move this process forward. You chose to call it a leadership summit, and I'm curious as to why you chose to call it that.
Well, that's who I am. I am just, if you talk to my mother, she would just tell you I've always been a leader in my own right. I am in love with leadership, and of course, my degree was in education. I've been an educator for many years, but I shifted, and I got a second master's in executive leadership from Liberty University. My alma mater, of course, is Alabama A&M University. I have to say that.
Absolutely.
But my second master's, I did get that because I wanted to invest. I didn't want to just say, well, let me get a fly-by-night certificate and say that I'm a leader, or just, operate as a leader because I have a following. No, I thought it was important to invest in leadership.
The thing that really resonates with me is the practicality of what you're
Yeah.
saying. I can see any number of people out there listening to this today, and they can connect in some way to what you're saying, because all of us have probably had that type of a journey or that type of experience, or have faced those crossroads where we were deliberating on our own lives and our circumstances, or wondering or curious about various things. And so I think there's a place for a lot of people to identify with what you're presenting in this process. And it's a very positive, very proactive, forward-moving, and uplifting type of experience. And I imagine that you want people to come, again, in a substantive way, not so much thousands, but people that come, you want them to walk away having experienced something meaningful in their lives. talk to people that are listening right now, perhaps, that might be at the same crossroads that you're at, and they've perhaps talked to a friend, or maybe they've gone to a counselor, or maybe they've prayed or meditated or done something else in order to try to get their answer. Talk to that person this afternoon that might be wondering. They're at the same crossroads that you might have been at. What would you say to them?
Well, I have to let them know that, I've been where you are. I know exactly how you feel. And, it's not above any of us to feel stuck, to feel as though you get to a certain place, even in your successes, and then you just kind of plateau. And so what I want to say to you is that don't give up. Never give up. It's worth it. Even the struggle, even the pain, even the times where you're unsure and you feel like it's not ever, going to get better. It is. It is. I'm here to tell you it will get better. And failure is what I've learned is success. Because we have such a fear of failure, but there really is no true success without being able to fail, without being able to be vulnerable enough to say, okay, I did some things there that could use a little bit of correcting. I may have made a wrong choice, or I may have just made a choice that was the best that I knew how at that moment. That's okay. And that's one of the things that I took from even my teaching. I would tell my students, do not be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to make mistakes, because if you don't let me know, I can't fix it. If you are silent, I can't help you fix it. So don't give up. Don't give up. Come on out to the conference and get some renewed hope.
Persevere. Well, I've got to tell you, Gentry, before we started the conversation, I knew I was on the move, but now I'm ready to shift too.
There you go.
So let's tell people how they can get more information about this conference, and give them some phone numbers, some websites. Just give them anything they need to know to connect with you to get more information.
Awesome. Well, the first thing that you can do is you can go over to our Facebook page, which is S.H.I.F.T Conference. And also you can connect directly with me. You can go to my Coach Gentry page on Facebook, inbox me there. And we also have a website, a registration website. You can register. You can get one of these t-shirts. All the ladies love the t-shirts. We have it in black, fuchsia, purple, and whatever size you need. And all the prices and all that is there. You'll go to splashthat.com. It'll be the 2016 Shift splashthat.com. And if you get a little confused, you can go to the S.H.I.F.T Conference page, and there's a link there. So it's very easy. If you get to Facebook, you won't get lost. So those are some of the main ways that you can get in contact. That Friday night is free admission. The only thing that is that Saturday we are having a $21 registration that will include lunch. We're going to have some dynamic speakers.
We're out of time, but is the conference focusing on a specific gender or a specific dynamic, or is it open to anybody? And then is there an age limit?
No, leaders of all ages, and there will be those people there. Okay. So it's open to everybody. And I think everybody can connect in some kind of way. That's why I say level the playing ground. Leadership is at all levels, and let's just arise in our leadership.
All right, fantastic. Well, we want to thank you very much for all this great information. Gentry Simmons, she's the conference host.
Yes.
For the S.H.I.F.T 2006 Leadership Summit. We're excited for you, and we hope that you have a fantastic experience.
Thank you so much.
All right. I want to thank you for being a part of our conversation this afternoon, and we hope that you will tune in again for future broadcasts of The Impact Show, and we hope that you'll like us on Facebook at Impact with Kenny Anderson. We'll talk to you again real soon. Have a great day.